everybody, it's Romania Black, and we're on episode 18 of Trigun, and so we had a lot revealed to us in the last episode. Still lots of questions, but we had a lot revealed to us, and I'm really interested in knowing what else is going to happen at this point. So I'm really curious how this is all going to go down. If I'm honest, I no clue. But I'm really excited. So I do have a few a few comments before we start. Nicholas on Discord was talking about how in episode 16 there is that montage where we see what everybody's been up to, and just kind of confirming that Vash is sadly the humanoid typhoon. Which I was telling Nicholas in the Discord, it's so sad because they're getting all these confirmations about Vash, but it's like Vash doesn't fully have control of himself. So it sucks that he's getting responsibility placed on him when, yeah, he technically is the cause, but there's more to it than that. And these people aren't necessarily privy to that information because they're just hearing it from the source and not from, the actual site and directly from Vash. But it's really sad. It's also kind of like a commentary Nicholas was saying about how it's so easy for people to fall back into their ways and into bad habits. Like we see the one guy, the gunsmith, he's drinking again and he's doing all this and he just fell back into hard times. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of Steve. Steve kind of fell back. He couldn't get out of that habit, right, of his attitude and his behaviors. And it's so human and so easy to do. And I like that this show, in just a very brief montage, covers such a big theme like that and a big heavy topic like that, and does it so just like in the blink of an eye. It's just like it's done and that's all you get. But it's very much a show not tell moment, and it's very effectively done. So I really appreciated that. I thought that was a really good thing for Nicholas to point out with the episode. The other thing was a note from KA about the voice actors, and that I didn't realize the voice actor for Roderick. I was like, I was like, is it Suda? It is Suda. Or not Suda, it is Koyasu, who is the voice of Zeke, the voice of Zeke, the voice of Adam, the voice of Nikolai, the voice of Toji. Koyasu has been the voice of many characters I've really liked in the series I've watched on this channel. And he has a very distinct voice, but this show came from very early on in Koyasu's career. So I feel like he plays Alba in Neon Genesis, and Alba's character was probably voice acted around the same time as this series. And in those series, it's not as noticeable, but the older he's gotten, the more distinct I think his voice has gotten as a voice actor. So you can kind of really pick it up in his characters. And it's distinguishable in a good way, right? It's noticeable in a good way. But I didn't even notice it, so I had to go back and rewatch and be like, nope, there it is. That's cool. So I like that he was the voice of Roderick. And then Nagi's voice actor is actually the same voice actor as Harrison in Cowboy Bebop, Grand Fisher in Bleach, which is the one I remember it for, and then Spinner, which is a side character in Death Parade. So good to know that these voice actors, this series has such a plethora of great voice actors. I can't wait to see when episode 17 comes out on YouTube and Patreon, who the voice actors for those are. It's going to come out next week, so I'm excited. Hopefully by episode 19 and 20, I'll have information about that. But yeah. So I'm really excited for this episode. I hope we get more answers. We ended on Vash and Knives getting headed to Earth. And so we assume that they've been there for 100 and so years now. I hope we get more answers, but I don't know if they're going to do that or if they're going to let it go a few episodes and then give us more answers. I'm not sure. I'm hoping we get some more this episode. That'd be nice before we go into the final act, but I'm not sure if that's going to be the case. So we'll see though, right? Mm-hmm. Real quick before we start, I want to give a special shout out over to our philanthropy tier over on Patreon. I'm very thankful for all the support I have on YouTube and Patreon for these series that I watch, but every week I want to give shout outs to those on the philanthropy tier who donate a little bit more than everybody else each month to help me to do what I love to do. So a special shout out to the people on our philanthropy tier, which is Edgar, Dana, Alex Cornejo, Be Happy, Kiri, Tyrone, Anime Annie, Eric, Sunspots, Translucent Min, Shimuyama, Nameless Monster, Anna, Legatus, Goob, as well as Argent, and Matthew Palfinier. I hope I said that right. I'm the worst at pronouncing, so I've probably said it all wrong. But thank you all so much for your support. I really, really appreciate it. All of my love, of course. But yeah, I'm really excited. I've been looking forward to this episode. I had to take a couple days where I couldn't watch it, but I'm back in the saddle again for Trigun, and we're on episode 18, so we're getting close to the final act of the series. Obviously, Knives is the final villain, of course, but the question is, how do we get to him? Where is he at? Is that who Vash has been looking for? Probably. And how does Legato fit into all of this? Who knows? We'll find out. I want to know how Legato fits into all this. He's the one missing link because he's clearly not one of the characters on the ship. So is he like one of the children of the original cast members? Like, how do we do this? So I guess we'll find out. But we are going to watch episode 18 of Trigun, and we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's do this, y'all. Well, I loved this episode. I thought this episode was great. It left you so hungry for more, though. It left you so hungry for more. And here's the thing. I'm going to say this before I even start the discussion, because I've had a few comments the last couple weeks asking about the manga. And here's what I know about the manga. I know that originally there were 2 volumes that were released for Trigun, and then Dark Horse, they went on hiatus, and then Dark Horse picked it back up, reprinted the 2 volumes, and then they started a series called Trigun Maximum after those 2 volumes and went from there. And I think there's 14 volumes in the series. So I know the manga exists. I know kind of a little bit about the history of the manga and how it was 2 volumes of one, and then they kind of restarted with Maximum and went from there. I don't want to know anything about the manga because I say that because I am planning to react to the manga at some point. I've already decided. I decided over the last couple weeks. I was like, I don't know, but I looked online and saw that they're actually reprinting, because I was originally going to start buying the manga to prepare for after this and Stampede. I'd instantly go into the manga, but I realized the manga is incredibly difficult to find in the old reprint. It's really hard to find. It's very, very expensive, and the condition of what's out there is not great. So luckily they're reprinting the Trigun manga, doing the same format they've done with Hellsing and Berserk, where they're going to be doing like the Ultimate Edition, so it's like 700 pages per volume. Insanity. But they're reprinting them. I am going to get it. I've already pre-ordered the deluxe edition of the first Trigun that has both of the original volumes in it that was originally printed. I've already pre-ordered it. It's coming out in December. It'll be here in time for Christmas. So when I get it, I'll be able to do a video about it, because I think at that point, I'm not exactly sure. We'll be in the middle of Stampede or finishing Stampede by that point. At least season 1 of Stampede. I know they're making a season 2 of Stampede. That's all I know. All I want to know right now. So it'll be a nice little be like, oh, look, we can look at the first 2 volumes of Trigun. And then I have pre-ordered, thanks to Patreon, thank y'all, I have pre-ordered the deluxe edition for Trigun Maximum, which is going to have volumes 1, 2, and 3 of Trigun Maximum. It doesn't come out till April, sadly, but I'm like, by that point we'll be in another series, and I'll probably have some withdrawal from Trigun and want to rewatch it again. So I am going to be doing manga reactions as they come out. They will be sporadic. They won't be, continuous in a row, but they will be happening. So because of that, I don't want to know anything that's left out of the manga that might be left out of the anime. I don't know. I don't know how the adaptation is. I don't want to know. So please do not tell me. I like going in blind. If people tell me all the differences between the manga and the anime, I won't react to the manga, because what's the point? So please don't do that. I do, though, in this episode, feel a sense like there could have been more. It feels like they cut. This episode is the first episode of Trigun I've watched that felt like things were cut. And now knowing that the manga is coming back, I'm getting more excited. So I'm excited for 2 things. 1, to read the manga eventually and see what all's been cut. That'll be exciting, if anything. And 2, when we get to Trigun Stampede, it's going to be interesting to see like how much it plays off of this, how much it's a total reboot, how much it's a completely original series. It'll be interesting to see. Let me say that. It'll be interesting to watch. I'm excited. I don't want to know anything, though. My brother was like, before he could say anything, I was like, I don't want to know anything different. And he was like, okay, I'm not going to tell you. So there we go. But I just wanted to clear the air and say that, yes, I am going to react to the manga for this series. It will just not be in a week-by-week format. It will just be when it's coming out. That's all I can say, because that's all I can do. That's all I can get a hold of the manga and not pay $300 a volume for it, right? So the deluxe editions are a little pretty penny, but I think it will be worth it to be able to talk about it. And then by that point, it'll be fun to go back and talk and say, okay, well, here's how the manga is compared to Stampede and compared to the original. So that'll be fun. But that being said, I really loved this episode. I liked this episode a lot. I thought it was so good. I wanted to know more. The montage they gave of them finding Vash, and like, it felt like The Little Mermaid, where they were scrubbing, lost in a shipwreck, and scrubbed him like he was Ariel, and then he like had the new clothes and stuff on. And just like, he's grown his hair out and had facial hair. So he was there for a while. Like, was probably there for like a year. I don't know. Has it been a year? I'm assuming we're going to find out next episode. They're probably going to give us some kind of time frame. He's been gone long enough that things have gone down and they've been able to reprint the signs. As we saw in the OP. Things have gone down, and Knives has caught wind that not only is Vash back, but he's in hiding, and Knives is trying to lure him out. Knives is trying to lure him out, right? Yeah, he's wanting to find out what he's up to. And then there's Wolfwood, who is very interesting indeed. Wolfwood's very interesting in this episode. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. What are we getting into here? So we start out the episode here. God, I love this episode so much. This is one of my favorites too. The second part of this season has not missed. From episode 13 on, this series has been a gem. I love this so much. And I'm really excited to see what the rest of the season holds out. So we finally get, like, the guy here, right? The guy that's been shot. Okay, here's the thing. The guy that's been shot. Does he not look like Wolfwood to anybody else? Does he not look like him? Just with the suit and his hair down. His hair kind of looks black, but it's kind of grayish. What is the deal? Okay, I'm assuming that it's the dad of the girl who's the engineer in the City of July. I'm assuming this is the City of July where he goes and finds Knives at. Right? I'm assuming that's the case. And then we find out it's not Legato on the table, it is Knives. The haircut always threw me off because Legato's hair is like down in his face. And I was just kind of like, the shoulder pads Legato has felt like it could have been him. But then once we see it here, we're like, no, this is clearly Knives. Now the question is, of course, what does Legato have to do with anything? Is Legato Knives' kid? How does that work? Like, is he just some protege? Does he just idolize Knives? What's the deal? But the fact that Knives is just sitting there cool as a cucumber waiting for Vash to come in, and he's like, oh, hey, Vash, how's it going? And he's just sitting there. I love the idea. And his suit, the suit that he's wearing, looks like one of the suits that they would wear when they came off the ship. Only it looks like the adult suit that Rim was wearing. Like, Rim was wearing the adult suit that was white with the blue underneath, and their suits were a little bit different because they were kids. And this looks like he took an adult suit off the spaceship and is wearing it himself. And then Vash has the red trench coat on. But they show up there, and Vash is like terrified, seeing not only Knives, but the fact this man has been shot. And then he says, now everything linking you and Rim is gone. So, what do we make of that? Is this man connected to Rim? Was he like a family member? Is he one of the humans that landed from the ships, and Knives has been going around killing all of them? Like what is happening? And Vash is like, is that your excuse? You killed this man because he was connecting me and Rim. And then he's like, what have you learned these past 100 years? Oh my gosh. Knives is a little bit of a big guy too. The scarves carved into you will never regenerate. So, okay. So the idea that Knives is like, you've been going around being this pacifist for 100 years and you've gotten all these scars that are never going to fully heal. Like, have you not realized that it's pointless? Right? And he's like, you're living proof of the folly of human trash. And he's like, you're wrong. They're all alive. Alive. And so I'm like, is Vash suggesting to Knives that these people are all alive, so thus they are worth saving. They're all like living beings, so they shouldn't be targeted. I love the fact that Knives just kept the same haircut. They both kept the same haircut. They both were like, no, neither of them can let go of their past enough to change their haircut, right? Why grow up if you're only going to grow sentimental? And I was like, well, geez, Knives, you monster. Like the fact that he looks over. Knives' face is very similar to Vash's because they're brothers, but like he looks absolutely terrifying. Like the way that his face is shadowed, it looks terrifying. You good for nothing weepy kid. And then he shoots him. And of course he shoots before Vash can react. And Vash wasn't going to hurt him, but yeah. Oh my God. Like they look so similar. And he blew his arm off, right? He blew his arm off with the one gun. Oh my God. And then he walks up to him. And he just looks terrifying. I like that in Knives' costume, there's a big, giant, gaping hole in the middle. Like his heart's been carved out. It's like a hole in his heart. Like there's nothing there. Oh my God. And Knives is a pretty stocky dude. Like Vash is a string being. Knives didn't skip bicep day. Oh my God. And then, yeah, he snaps his fingers. But then, okay, so when he snaps his fingers, it takes the screws and stuff off of the gun and activates the light. So what? The question is, I'm not surprised that Knives figured out the mechanism of the gun. I'm not surprised Knives figured out what they can do. But how? Like, how does this work? How does the light, he's like, what is this light? And he's like, oh, well, it's something you and I can do. So how does that work? Because he's like, now let's dispose of all the trash. Like, how does this work? And it like makes his arm and everything into a weapon. But how does Knives know that that's how it works? How did he learn this? Why didn't Vash know? Like, what's the deal? And he's like, are you going to shoot me again? So he shot him once, right? He's like, are you really going to shoot me again, Vash? So he shot him before, but when did he shoot him? We don't know. How do we not know? We don't know. Okay. We don't know. Like how, we don't know a lot of things. So we don't know, how did Knives figure out the gun and the whole energy beam thing? How did he figure it out? Why didn't Vash know? They clearly were separated for like 100 years. Who knows how long they were separated? Maybe it was 100 years. We don't know that. When did Vash shoot him the first time? We don't know that. Where's his scar from that? We don't know. The show gives us answers like in crumb format. We get answers, but then we get answers, but then it doesn't explain. It leaves us with more questions. So I'm like, damn it, I want to know. And so we have Eric's. I'm like, what does Eric mean? Because I try to say, like, you can't say it backward. It's like Kyre backwards or Skyer. Eric means eternal ruler, ever powerful. One ruler. Okay, Eric's means one ruler. It seems like a very dominating name for Vash. It seems too arrogant or too powerful. I don't know. It doesn't seem right. Right? So then Wolfwood comes in on the bus, right? And he comes off the bus. I like that he just gets off the bus at the same time everybody's trying to get on. And he goes into the bar and is asking what's going on. And they find out that there's been basically bandits running amok around the city. And anytime people try to leave, the bandits like raid the bus and raid all the people involved. And he's like, not only that, but Vash is here. Vash is running the show. Now, Wolfwood knows that's not the case. Wolfwood is very smart, and he knows that Vash is not leading a bunch of bandits. That is not the situation at all. And they talk about the sheriff who went to negotiate, ended up with all this lead in him. Like, he came back with his hands tied behind his back and being shot to death. And Wolfwood's like, oh, the legendary gunman, huh? Is that true? And it's like, no. He knows that Vash would never do that. It's probably that one guy that looks like Bowser meets Rocksteady or Bebop or whatever from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The man who incinerated 2 of the 7 cities. Okay, designated as mankind's first localized act of God, and some say he put a hole in the moon. So enough time has passed. wondering if Meryl will if Meryl and Millie will show back up at some point and be like, it's been a year since we've seen you, Mr. Vash, or what will happen. They're coming back into the story. There's no way it's not just gonna be Wolfwood. They're gonna come back. But enough time has passed where it's now legend that he shot a hole in the moon, and we find out that there are 7 cities and 2 of them he's destroyed. So July and Augusta have been 2 of the cities he's destroyed. Okay. We find out that much. And so then I like that the bartender that's like, oh, what's this giant cross that you're carrying with you? And Wolfwood's like, oh, I'm a priest. And he's like, oh, great. We'll need you for all the funerals happening. I was like, this series has a very dark sense of humor when it wants to, and it's kind of hilarious. I was like, oh my God. How dare, show, how dare. He's like, we don't need anything formal, just help with the funerals. They took out our chaplain a short while back. The black humor in this show is really, really well done. It's just very subtle. And then they show us the bus getting destroyed and saying, yeah, we'll need you to help with the funerals. Oh my God. So this city has had a lot of bad stuff happen. And then Eric comes in with Lena. So, and they say only Lena, and they don't seem surprised by Eric. So that shows you that he's been here a while, enough that the locals know him. And I love that Wolfwood, the thing about it is, you knew when Vash came into the bar and saw the cross and saw Wolfwood, that he knew Wolfwood was there. But at this point, if Wolfwood's not going to call himself out, then Vash probably thought he was safe and that his disguise was working. But I'm like, you've been around Wolfwood enough. The moment you started talking, the moment you knew that Wolfwood was going to recognize you, come on. You should have known. But he doesn't do that. It's like, what? She doesn't know when to quit. And he's like, just because he fondled her butt. And she's like, well, yeah, that's enough reason for me to kick him. And you could tell these two, at first I was a little confused because I was like, if he just rescued her from the scene, why does he sound like he knows the situation and knows her? But it becomes more and more apparent that by the time the episode ends, that these two have known each other for quite some time and they've built this rapport. And Wolf was just kind of sitting there like, what's happening? And he's like, surely not. You've gotten the one guy involved. And he's blonde and has the blonde mohawk, so that's why they think he's Vash, right? It makes sense. Okay. And he barely misses him when he shoots. Although, he's such a funny looking character. He's so ill-proportioned, right? And then Vash looks like Zeke from Attack on Titan meets Father from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and has the hair grown out and the facial hair. It's not a bad look. I'm not usually a person that likes facial hair on guys, but Vash can pull it off. I'm fine with it. And so then he says he's afraid Lena's gonna get hurt, and Vash comes out, right? She's only 12. Have a heart. And he's like, send out the kid. And he's like, I can't do that. And Vash prostrates himself in front of the bad guy and says hey, I'm apologizing to you. I'm sorry she did that to you. Forgive her. She's just a kid. Let her go. And he says, no. And then Vash says, what? He's like, that's not good enough. He's like, act like a dog. And I like that he's like, well, then I'll get naked. He's like, they're like, act like a dog and get buck naked, of course. And of course, everybody's like, naked. And he's like, would you keep your word? And he's like, I'm going to hold you to it. Right? What the hell? Right? Now, the thing of it is, in that still shot, it looks like his hand, we've been wondering, he has a fake arm this whole time, but it looks like his hand on the ground there. I think that's an animation error, showing his hand looking like it's grown back. I think that's an animation error, only because in one of the earlier episodes, episode 13, when the episode where he has the paper and it shows him waking up with his pajamas, his hand is also flesh colored. So I think that was an animation error, that they just, either that or under the glove it looks like a human hand, but it's not. I think it's either an animation error, but it's not really his hand. It's just a method. And he says, do you mean it? Will you keep your word? And damn, she's like, Eric's don't do it, but now he does it. And man, they give us the Trigun booty. And everybody's like, everybody slowly turns around to look. But yeah, it's just, yep. And you see it's the fake arm. It is the fake arm there, yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't notice it was a fake arm because I was distracted. There was another part of Vash I was distracted by. I was like, oh, yeah, fake arm there. Mm-hmm. But then at that point, you know it's him. And Wolfwood's like, let me take a peek. I like that Wolfwood said, it's not your fault, sweetie. It's what he wanted to do. Like, he agreed to do this. This has nothing to do with you. And she's like, but that's just how it is. And a part of me wonders, too, if Vash knew it was him, and this was Vash's way of telling Wolfwood, like, hey, it's me. Although Wolfwood already knew it was him from the start. And then he acts like a dog because, of course he does. It's Vash. Now, here's the thing. They were going to still attack. Either way. They were going to still do it. But then he sees Wolfwood. And Wolfwood looks at him like, bitch, are ya? Now, he had no gun up. Nothing. He just looked that way and was like, you sure? So that guy knew Wolfwood. He knew who he was. He knew who he was, and the moment he saw him, he's like, let's go. And everybody thinks it's Vash that scared him away, but no. It was Wolfwood. I'm still on the bandwagon that Wolfwood is Chapel, or that Wolfwood is a member of the gang that defected or something, and they all know who he is, and that he's as infamous as Vash is, except he's not literally destroyed cities. I'm still under that mindset that Wolfwood has a past, and we don't know it yet, but he leaves. He's like, let's go. Like, that just seems like a lot. And then Vash is like, really? They left? Okay, look at me. And then Lena's like, and so they say shoot him, and they shot him. And I was like, how dare they? He looks so pretty getting shot, though. His hair is, like, beautiful. And so they bring Vash back in, and we find out that he's been in this city for a while now, protecting everybody, and he keeps going to the operating room to get operated on. And because he's an alien, that's probably what helps him survive the operations over and over again. But yeah, that he just keeps going back. He's been here a while, enough that the locals know him and know his reputation. And then I like that Wolfwood stands up for him because they're like, what a wimp, that Eric's. And Wolfwood's like, that wimp is the reason you all are still alive, bitches. God, I love Wolfwood in this. And then they're like, Grandma. She says, Grandma, Eric's, it's all right, Grandma, the bullet was out. Now, do I think Wolfwood is actually related to these people? No. I think now, looking back, that he just called her Grandma out of, like, respect, like, whatever, like, not Oni-san, but, like, or Oto-san or something. I think he just called her that out of respect. Like, that was it. But them saying he's one lucky devil. Mm-hmm. Is he an angel? Is he a devil? Rim called him an angel, and they call him a devil here, you know, but angels and devils are just what you make of it, right? I like, though, that Wolfwood just sneaks into the infirmary, and he's just been standing there the whole time, and nobody's noticed. And then the grandma thinks she's going to go after him, and they talk her down from, like, going. And Wolfwood, I love the way he looks in this. He's just so good with the suit and everything. And he has, like, the eyes there. Yeah. The way that Wolfwood looks is so good. And there's just a softness to him throughout this episode. And he manages, and they stop him. They said if he'd stayed away. And they managed to get her out of there, and that's when Wolfwood's like, yeah, I'm gonna, stick around here and talk to Vash if that's cool. And then he punches Vash, and Vash tells the doctor to leave. I love Vash's little, like, his sparkly face, right? He looks like a shoujo girl. He looks like Magical Girl from Yu-Gi-Oh, where he has, like, the hair, the big bangs, and he's like, oh, hey, Wolfwood. I'm like, my Wolfwood Vash shipping goggles are back on throughout all of this. I'm like, seriously. Oh, you're conscious already. And he's like, can you leave us for a little while? Everything from here on in, the framing of the rest of this episode is absolutely gorgeous, beautiful. The cinematography, love it. Love all of it. Like, the silence between Wolfwood and Vash, and him being like, I've been looking for you for a while. He's like, long time no see. Mm-hmm. I love the framing of them on the bed, though. Like, the framing of the windowsill and them on the bed just, like, having this conversation. I could listen to this all day long. I could listen to little moments like this for the rest of the series. If it was just Vash and Wolfwood having conversations, I could listen to it entirely. And he says, I finally found you, you idiot. Mm-hmm. What's a legendary guy like you doing in a place like this? He's like, I could have destroyed the planet with that gun. So yeah, Vash is like, I ran away and hid because I was dangerous. And I love that Vash has just he's got the covers pulled up over his head, like, I don't want to talk about it. Like, he's being pouty. And he says there's a blank in my memory. I can't explain what I did. So Vash's memory is spotty. That's a problem. But Vash seems aware of it as he's talking to Wolfwood. And so at that point, it goes back to saying that, yes, it was me, my fragmentary visions, but more than anything, something inside tells me that I'm the one that blew the hole in the moon. And Wolfwood's just like, yeah, it was you. Wolfwood was there, he knows, but he's just letting Vash kind of work it out, right? Letting him work it out and kind of talk through it. And he's like, okay, so your memory's spotty, so then you just ran away? He's like, you're afraid of what you can do. So you're living this easy retirement and just avoiding responsibility. And Vash is like, look, I've always just wanted to live quietly. I didn't want to get involved with anything. He's like, why are you here? Again, my shipper heart, loving Vash and Wolfwood. Like, Vash is just, everything's bared in front of him. And just in front of Wolfwood asking, like, why are you here? Why'd you come find me? What's the point? Are you here to laugh at me? And Wolfwood's like, I'm here to get you out of here because we've got unfinished business, sir. And he's like, if you're asking for a final destination, I don't know. I love that line. I love that Vash is like, where we're going. And Wolfwood's like, look, I don't know where we're going to end up at, but I know that there's some stuff going on and you are partially responsible. So you need to own up to it and help me figure out what the deal is. He's like, I know I need your help. And just the way that Vash looks there with like the lighting on the window on his face. The animation on him's so good. I love it so much. Yes, please. I turned Augusta upside down looking for you. And he hands him the gun that he found, right? Interesting that the gun's okay. He's like, have you ever met a guy named Marlin? He fixed it for me for free. Yeah. So Marlin, we don't know what Marlin's situation is or how he knows him, but he's a character that knows Vash, one of the gunsmith. And Vash is like, I don't want to leave. Why are you giving me this? Because, yeah, Vash is... He's in this delusion that if he just stays here and runs away, then he doesn't have to go back. He can stay here and have this peaceful existence. But the fact of the matter is that there's people looking for him. And the people looking for him are going to keep causing destruction and terror until they find him. So even though he wants to live this peaceful coexistence, that's not possible. He's going to be hunted down until he does something about the people hunting him down. And until he takes care of that, it's just going to keep happening and more people are going to get hurt. Like the Lena situation is only going to get worse. And Vash is just running from the problem. And Wolfwood's like, look, you've always carried this gun. You've never killed anybody with it, but you've always had it and you've used it to protect other people. And he's like, now you're just running away from that responsibility because you're afraid you're going to hurt them because you don't understand the problem. He's like, rather than trying to figure out answers, you're just running from the equation. He's like, I thought you'd need it. And I love that just shot of Vash naked in the bed and Wolfwood's just standing beside him like, are we doing this? Are you going to help me? I love that there's like a kind of a vignette framing around it. He's like, I want to live my life here with them. And Wolfwood's like, do you really? Or are you just running away? Right? And so they establish he's been there a while and she finds out where she found him. Like she found him on the outskirts of the city. They brought him in and she knows, she's seen all of his wounds and everything to know what shape he's in. But he's been helping her this whole time and he's kind of become like family to her. And he's like, Wolfwood's like, oh, so you're staying. He says, whenever I step in, people die. And it's like, but you've stepped in here. That's the thing. Yeah, that may be, but he stepped in here, so Lena's in just as much trouble as she would be if you weren't here. And Wolfwood's like, fine. He's like, before I go, Wolfwood does the ultimate thing. He's like, if you want it bad enough to give up on everything else, then go for it. And that's when he remembers Rim, right? Wolfwood's like, if you want to give up on everything else, that paradise that Rim told you about, fine, you can stay here and hide all you want. But Wolfwood does like the ultimate bitch move where he's like, as he's leaving, he's like, oh, and by the way, the person that I know you're looking for, the person that I know is your trigger, by the way, here's this grenade, bye, and like lights it and goes. Like Wolfwood knows exactly what he's doing, right? He just like, oh, there's a tiny town in southern Cornelia. Because he asks him, he's like, have you heard of carcasses? And he's like, no. He's like, it's a tiny town, southern Cornelia. Something strange happened there 6 months ago. So 6 months ago. Okay, so it has been at least 6 months, possibly a year, because for it to happen 6 months ago and it still be a thing and him just heard about it, I feel like it's been probably a year. It's probably been a year since Vash left. And Wolfwood's like, yeah, 6 months ago this happened. Everybody disappeared without a trace. Now, what that means, I don't know. I don't like it. The scary thing is, if knives can make people disappear and die without causing any outside destruction, that is terrifying. No, thank you. Because it doesn't look like people were rounded up because like the bread was just left half eaten. They did discover one thing that was odd. In the middle of town, on the town square, there was a man's name painted. I like the thing. Here's the thing though. Here's the thing. A man's name. Wolfwood knows it's a man, right? Because all it is knives. That's not a name. That's a damn noun. So Wolfwood knew it was a man. I mean, knives is a weapon, not a name. So how do you know? How do you know it's a man? Wolfwood knows. He knows. He knows what's going on. He knows that Knives is connected with Legato because he's been connected with him himself. It was in red. I love that it's color spotted except for the name. It said Knives. Uh-huh. And Vash instantly knows what that means. Like, his expression is instantly grim. And Wolfwood's like, bye! Knives. And then, yep, we see, like, everything get darker around the gun. Uh-huh. He's like, whenever I step in, destiny homes in on the smell of blood and gun smoke. I like that destiny is capitalized there. Like, he's like, whenever I step in, fate is like, it finds the smell of gun and blood smoke around me. Blood and gun smoke around me and makes there be more destruction. It's like I can't escape it when I step in. It creates mountains of debris. And then, yeah, we see... Yeah, so originally the suit they both wore was red underneath. And then the suit that Rim has is like for an adult. So Knives just basically took an adult suit with him to transfer into when he got older. We still don't know what Rim said to him, right? We still don't know what those last words were. And he says, Rim, what should I do? Poor Vash. I hate that he's crying. I hate it. And then Grandma Cheryl, they say they got Lena. And so then Vash is like, well, shit. And they're like, Grandma, wait a second. And I like that he's like, well, what do I do? Do I keep running for my problems? And then the light shines on the gun. And it's like Vash is thinking, okay, I don't have to kill anybody, but I can't run away from my problems anymore. Like, I can't run away from this situation. I'm involved whether I like it or not. And I've got to do something about it. And then I like that Wolfwood was sitting outside, like, waiting on him. Like, he knew Vash was going to come out. It was just a matter of time. He says, you know, I was really fond of my life here. I love that he holds the gun up as he said it. He was like, I was really enjoying it here until you came and brought me back to reality. It's just, yeah, it's like a dream. It's not real. And Wolfwood's like, well, them's the breaks. I love that Wolfwood's like, sorry. Reality is a lot crueler. Someone's got to get tough or someone else is going to cry. I feel like that's like a whole philosophy in itself. He's like, somebody's going to have to get their hands dirty. He's like, if you want to protect people, you're going to have to get your hands dirty. That's just the way this works. Oh, but they're just such badasses. Them walking down together, like Vash has the gun like in his pants and Wolfwood there's 200 men and he has the cross. He's like 100 each. That's a shame. Oh my God. And then, yeah, he undoes the big giant. It looks like a big old gun. He's like, don't kill anyone. So yeah, Vash and them are like, Vash is like, we're not going to kill anyone. And he says, don't ask the impossible. It's like a giant gun. Oh my God. Thou shalt not kill. I love that. He's like, what hell of a kind of a church man are you? And Wolfwood's like, oh, well, stop saying the same thing. You're sounding like your old self. These two, freaking love them. Freaking love them to pieces. And then, yeah, the guy here. What I love about it is, like, they both start walking towards the mansion, and they get the order to be shot at. The bullets miss them. They're complete badass. They pull the gun out, and then that's it. They're like, let's do it. And then it just ends. I love it. I love the shot of them walking towards, and then it cuts to her cutting his hair. And it's framed like with the two columns there and him in the middle. It's like it felt very much, I'm watching Jujutsu Kaisen season 2 at this point, and without spoiling anything, there is a scene where you think there's going to be this big battle happen, and then it cuts to the aftermath. It's great. I feel like Akutami has, again, in Jujutsu Kaisen season 2, I'm watching it, and there's a character in that series that I feel is a reference to Trigun, and I feel like this exact same thing is a reference to Trigun as well, where it was just, you think there's going to be this big battle, but there's no point. You know how it's going to end up. They could show you. They could glorify the violence to show you, but that's not the point of Trigun. He's a damn pacifist. He doesn't want to hurt anybody. So they just cut to the aftermath, and that's all you needed to see. And then we see her with the barber gear walking up to him. Yep. It's like, I must have been out of my mind to talk to someone so filthy looking. She's like, you need to cut your hair. It's time. And then she, like, Rim is, like, holding it up. So then we see, how did those two take care of themselves, all these thugs by themselves? Well, yep, and they're all passed out. I've never seen anyone kick so much ass in my life. Hilarious. That's, like, one of the best lines in this show. I absolutely love it to pieces. And she starts cutting the hair off. Girl, she didn't even start with the split end. She just cut straight in. Girl does not have a cosmetology license. I can tell you that now. And then we cut, while this is happening, to the other side of the house. I love the framing of the grandmother on the other side of the house. We can see Vash and Lena, and then we see the grandmother with the cat on the other side with Wolfwood. And so your mind is made up. Yeah, I think I'll go. And Vash is like, I think I'm going to leave here. I hate to do this to you and Lena. Isn't there anything we can do? Tell me all about it. And he says, thank you, but I can't. If I did, I'd put you in danger. Same thing he told Meryl. He doesn't want anybody getting in danger because of him. And then the grandma's like, well, you're just going to end up all alone somewhere else without somebody following you. That hurts us the most about you leaving. And then Wolfwood says, I'm sorry. Because Wolfwood basically, like, I think Vash would have stayed there in that dream scenario had Wolfwood not come and got him. And he's apologizing to the grandma, being like, sorry. It's my fault. And then, yeah, who would have guessed that Eric's was Vash the Stampede? And so then they're like, we thought this pig man was him, but nope. And he's all bunched up. They're like, do you think he plans to stay in this town? And they're like, no. Don't even go there. We ought to run him out right now. But he's going to leave before then. And he thinks of Rim, of Lena being like Rim. Yep, I love that. I love it. And then he says, I see. So she cried, huh? What? Now, the question is, maybe I was a little too pushy. So... And she says, you hardly need to apologize. Mr. Preacher, please take good care of our Erics. Okay, so one, Wolfwood is not related to Vash, because she said Mr. Preacher, so they don't know Wolfwood. But when he's talking about, I made her cry, so they're talking about Lena crying over Vash leaving. And he's like, I'm sorry I made your granddaughter cry. That's what it was saying. He says, please take good care of our Erics. Unlike you, he's a bumbling fool of a goody-goody. Yeah, which means, like, unlike you, you are no goody two-shoes, which is such... I just want to know more about Wolfwood. I'm so excited. Lena and I realized somewhere in our hearts that he wasn't going to stay with us. He was probably going to leave us someday. Yeah, somebody like Vash was not going to stay there forever. But doesn't change the fact that we're losing a member of our family. Yep, don't forget that. She's like, don't forget that you took our family from us. I love that the tops of their heads are in the shadows. I absolutely love it. And he says, I'm sorry. Yeah, oh, damn. I love that Wolfwood's like, I'm sorry I'm taking him. I'm truly sorry, grandmother. But yeah, I'm taking him with us. Oh, I love how this is. And then we get the montage of her, like, we see her, like, bringing him there and feeding him the soup. And his hair's all down. So, yeah, his hair grew out along. So, probably, yeah, over a year's time. Probably. He became family to them. And then we see him, like, trying on the shirt. And we see the fake hand connected to the arm up there. So, yeah, it is a fake hand. Aw. And that the shirt doesn't fit. And then see him, like, as his hair's growing out, walking with her. And she has an apple. Wow, like the halcyon days, like the apple that she's holding. Mm-hmm. Yep, and then seeing him celebrate the birthday with her, like wearing the same clown nose with the same confetti that she had. Trying to repeat that magic that he felt in the ship with Rim. Mm-hmm. But like it was then, that was all a simulation. Like it wasn't the real thing. So even though the grandmother and Lena are real, the piece that he's trying to simulate with them, it's just a little bubble. And eventually, if he doesn't go out and take care of knives, take care of the problem, the bubble's going to get busted eventually and reality is going to seep in. So it's like, it's probably a good thing Wolfwood came and got him, because in the long run, knives probably would have found him and killed Lena and the grandma, and then what would we have done, right? And then it would just cause more pain. But that's so crazy. There's a connection there. And then the Thomases chasing after him. Oh my God. And you see they're like little alien god. Great. And then her kicking him as she's trying to like make the clothes. Uh-huh. And then the three of them. And the glasses that was given to Vash were the grandmother's glasses. Oh. And then, yep, I like Wolf was just leaning over his cross as they give a hug for them to go. Yep, and then finish cutting the hair. So the hug to her must have been when they came back. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then I like that she like wraps herself up in the blanket, like she's like savoring the last bit of him that's gonna be there for a while. Oh, I feel so bad for Lena. And then like he hasn't got his face shaved yet, but he gives her like this big hug. Oh, it's so cute. Like this little girl that he like took in. He's like, thank you. It's so sweet. I wanted to keep you safe. But it turned out the other way around. That she kept him safe. He was too weak. Oh no, that's not true. Don't be stupid. Oh, she said that I wanted to keep you safe, but in the end you saved me. I was too weak. And Vash being like, don't be stupid. I'm sorry. Those are both my lines. He's like, I should be thanking you and saying I'm sorry. I'm getting like Modao Zushi flashbacks of thank you, I'm sorry. Hurts. It hurts. It really hurts. And then there he goes. Oh my God. Vash looks freaking amazing. Like the black jeans and the boots and the hat and the white shirt. He looks amazing. I'm liking this look on Vash. I hope Meryl and Millie get to see it at some point. He doesn't have his red coat anymore though. He doesn't have his red coat. His red coat was all torn to shreds. So now it's just him with his stuff, whatever's in the bag. What is in the bag? We still don't know what's in the bag because it's not, I mean, he has his gun, but it's not just that. What is it? Oh. He looks so good there. He looks great. And then he waves goodbye. Lena. Oh. Thank you. Yeah, for taking him in. And goodbye for now. Yeah, I want him to go back and see her again. I want that to happen, please. Please and thank you. Oh. Y'all. I really, really, really want to know more about Wolfwood, but now that they're off on their venture, they're going to go find knives, I'm sure, because that's the big bad. That's the thing that's keeping the peace from being solidified, is Vash can't go live in peace out in the wilderness unless knives is taken care of. Whatever that amounts to, right? And there's still so much mystery. There's still so much we don't know. I'm excited because I'm hoping that the series, now that he's back with Wolfwood, we're going to get more about the two of them as we go, because they're going to have to catch each other up on what's going on and filling in the gaps. But I can't wait, y'all, to see what happens. So I hope y'all enjoyed this reaction and discussion. I'm very curious to know your thoughts down below, but I loved this episode. I wanted more from it. It left me hungry, but there's been some time pass. And so now we're back in it, though. So, and getting ready to enter the final arc of going off to find Legato and Knives, who I'm sure are connected. So, in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and I'll be back very soon with more Trigun.